Madiha Ahmed from MA OPC Pvt Ltd, and this video is going to be about Corp Call, the services that are offered by my company for the corporates and for professional development. So the reason behind venturing into the corporate world and doing trainings for them emerged from my own experiences when I saw that the way the communication happened at the managing director level or at the CEO level, and the way the decisions were taken, the motive behind it, the way of execution, the leadership involved, the style of communication, and not only from the perspective of how the leader thought, but also how the followers followed it and understood and perceived the leader. So and that has been across the global companies, in India the most popular ones as well as abroad. So what I have realized as a result of it is that today one of the reasons for the crumbling economy, I'm sure there are reasons where people blame government for the situation that our country is in, and there are also reasons where people blame that other cultural aspects of the company for crumbling down, and of course there are other reasons which we kind of tend to not highlight because of lack of knowledge or not wanting to admit due to whatever reasons, depending on situations. So the reason Corp Call became an important part of the company is because we understood this, that in the education system, of course, changes had to be made, new thought processes had to be developed, but at the same time, the companies which were either doing the CSRs or that were responsible for being the power behind a lot of big changes that happened in the world or in the country, it was important to kind of identify why certain problems happened within a company rather than just blaming the external factors or some XYZ factors, or the fact that, you know, the younger generation blames the older one for not keeping up with the latest technology, or vice versa, where the older generation feels that the young ones are too passionate and always after their own interest but don't give too much of attention and time to the existing family businesses or whatever legacy the family wants to carry forward. So what I identified through my research at the Pixel Tank, which is the R&D segment of my company, is this, that intergenerational problems and challenges existed in most companies, because of which there is a lot of conflict, where one generation feels that the other generation has certain lack and has certain insecurities towards, like, you know, maybe their own self-esteem is low, that is why the insecurities develop, or it's about, you know, power games, or at times really the younger generation not being responsible enough. And as we know, that a lot of times startup cultures exist, and so many startups fail because of lack of proper planning and just being passionate, and that being a good enough reason to do your work and to start your own company. And on the other hand, I've always also seen the fact that, you know, the younger ones also kind of are right at times where they feel that, you know, there is so much of insecurity in leadership, where one feels that, you know, the power game will be kind of taken away from an older person and will transfer to the younger hands, and then they will have no more respect or say in things. Or at times there are other reasons also where, you know, the older generation kind of controls a lot. So there are various factors and various reasons because of which there is a lot of problem in the corporate world. And doing a few trainings with some very eminent corporates as well as the middle strata ones, I've realized, and also sometimes with startups, I've realized that there are some major challenges. So one is the intergenerational challenges and problems. Second is the leadership. So a lot of times it's easy to say, you know, lead by example, but it's not easy because there are various challenges that arise as a result of it. So leadership means, leading yourself means that there is the leadership of doing your work properly and being able to share the vulnerable side of you, the struggles that you faced in that journey of being a leader or while you are executing your responsibilities and duties, there are certain challenges. So it's not easy for someone who's following you to catch up with you and to kind of understand you and admire you and kind of understand and follow you, unless they also know that you're not the perfect, the Hitler figure, but rather someone who is also going through struggles but trying to deal with it in a better way. Also, a lot of times leading self involves, like, just doing your work and getting it done. So what I typically feel that, most of the time, that just be right yourself even if the world is not fixed. But when you're in a company, it's not just that. Leadership involves leading yourself well, getting your own work done, but it also means getting the work done through other people. Because at some point, when you are a leader capable enough, once you've understood your core problems among the customer in the market, then it becomes, necessary to kind of extend that understanding and training and leadership to more people, so that it's easy to scale up, or it's easy to kind of execute in a big way. But what becomes a problem at times, depending on what kind of a corporate it is, the quality control, or the kind of, the customer relations that are there. So a lot of times, these are the challenges that quality being a major one when it comes to leadership being extended to more people and more leaders being trained to take up or execute the same kind of work. But this is something I strongly focus on, that how do I as a leader maintain the quality of the company in such a way that over a period of time the quality is maintained. Initially, of course, things go a little here and there, but it's all about kind of understanding, identifying the right skill set in the leaders who you are going to nurture. It's about also understanding how to translate ideas depending on the skill set and like the strengths and the weaknesses of the other people. So that involves multiple intelligence, that involves the SWOT, that involves a lot of other things as well. So that is leadership. And then communication, where a lot of times the kind of words we use, the kind of feedback we give to people, the kind of processing and reflection analysis methods that we have are so rigid or so mechanical that there is no connect, there is no real social thing happening, where everybody just becomes very mechanical for the sake of it, for the heck of it. People will just do their activity, their analysis, and just submit. And it's, yes, figures matter, numbers matter, but what also matters is what, this is something I've learned from Plus Acumen, which is a US based body, the School for Social Change. So the World School for Social Change, and the courses that I did there, the kind of people I met, I realized it was so important to ask the right questions, the ability to ask questions. How do you identify questions? When you have a set of data available, how do you bring out the right kind of broader questions, smaller questions? How do you brainstorm? How do you include everybody's feedback, especially when the discussion is going on, when there are a lot of senior people, a lot of junior people, middle-aged people, and it's a mixed age group. It's very difficult because, and also there are times when people are elderly, so they might want to share too much, whereas somebody who's young might kind of not find their voice too easily. Or at times the young ones being given voice, but the older ones being ignored and thought, oh, again they will start. Or at times the gender part, where females may be considered as not good enough, or we'll give them a hearing, but at the end of the day, there is no quality contribution from one gender or the other. So either because males are dominant and they will just speak and ignore the good productive female voice, or vice versa, where the female voice is kind of not, so anything can happen. I'm just trying to say that a lot of times, the right voices are not identified. It's not important that anyone who has the loudest and the boldest voice and the clearest voice always becomes the leader. It all depends on being a lot of things. So that is what we help companies to identify. Also, accountability. I think it's become very important that today, when there is so much of manipulation possible, one, because of technology, you can tweak things around. At the same time, technology is also useful because you can't manipulate. So that is one of the things. Another thing is that accountability also comes into the picture, because a lot of times, we feel that, we can justify things in the name of passion and in the name of a lot of other excuses that we can give, that kind of, because we all are not happy with a 9-to-5 job, so we kind of give an excuse that I was busy with this, I was busy with that, whereas that may not be the case. So that's one of the things. Then succession planning, that a company has taken so much of effort and work and time and investment to kind of come to a certain stage, and then handing over to the right person. How do you identify leaders in such a setup when there's a mixed group, and decision making, you know, being a very important part, and the whole process of actually identifying and how much time to give to that. So what we are working on is that, of course, you know, so problems, people, purpose, plan, process and product. When there are problems will involve a lot of people or some people, but once the purpose is identified and a plan is created, then there is a process which can be identified and worked on to arrive at a certain product that you want to achieve, that outcome that you want to achieve. So JISCA is the JISCAL. So GIS is generations, initiative, succession planning, that is JIS, and CAL is communication, accountability and leadership. So we are working on these GIS, CAL, and we are helping in the problem identification and problem solving, in understanding people better and how they work with each other, the decision making and the communication and the leadership, as well as purpose. You know, what was the purpose and vision and mission of the company, and how is it being, you know, kind of undergoing dynamic changes over generations, and over, like, you know, everybody in every generation has certain skill sets, and all of that can be included in the company's mission, vision and also the agenda and goals, and therefore, you know, help the company add innovation, social innovation, and also the social impact angle to the company. So if you are interested to organize any trainings for the Corp Call, please feel free to reach out to me, write an email to us, ahmadmadiha11@gmail.com, or you can drop a message on the Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or the Facebook profile, or check out our website for the associations we've had in the past. Thanks a lot for watching.